My name is Aaron McJones. I'm a world-class reporter, and I am conducting a research project on the medical advancements in treatment of POWs spanning from the Spanish-American War to World War II. I will be calling upon the brainpower of three renowned scholars in their own fields. A doctor who has saved more lives than Dr. Gregory House, MD. And is a current doctor at Johns Hopkins University Hospital. I will also be speaking with Lieutenant Jesus Cristo, who has studied military history, his niche being POWs, the last amazingly talented man I'll be interviewing, who I'm very honored to have finally met, my idol since birth, Dr. Fritz Glockenheimer, a professor at Oxford University. The first interview I will be conducting is with Dr. Laura Tasman. Hello, Dr. Tasman. Thank you for joining me today and helping to make my report splendiferous.
Thank you for having me.
I'd like to begin by asking how long you've been in your field of medical study.
Well, I studied pre-med at Harvard University and received my PhD at the age of 23 years, 6 months, 12 days, and 7 hours old, and have been practicing medicine ever since.
Okay, let's begin with a few questions about wartime medicine. How well were the injured soldiers taken care of during the Spanish-American War compared to World War I and World War II? And were the surgeries well conducted?
Well, to answer your first question, during the Spanish-American War, there was not much recorded data, but we do know that many of the deaths were disease and surgery related. This tells us that many of the dead soldiers were killed by a popular war disease, yellow fever. During World War I, typhus broke out and killed many soldiers along with dysentery, which killed 2 out of every 100 Americans. The first surgeries were not well conducted at all, but as time went on, surgeons gained experience and it slightly improved. The doctors were not well trained, therefore did not know the human body well enough to have the ability to successfully conduct all procedures. Then, of course, in World War II, penicillin was developed.
How did the discovery of penicillin help to revolutionize the medical field and help treat soldiers during World War II?
Well, penicillin made a major difference in the number of deaths and amputations caused by infected wounds among Allied forces, saving an estimated 12 to 15% of lives.
Were there large enough supplies of penicillin to help all the wounded soldiers?
Availability was severely limited. The penicillin went through a person's body very quickly, so doctors actually had to keep giving penicillin to the patient every 3 to 4 hours because 80% of penicillin dose had already gone through the body. Sometimes even urine samples were collected from patients so that penicillin could be isolated and reused.
My final question is, during World War II, what kinds of medical kits were on the vehicles, and what did they contain?
There were many different medical kits, but I'll share my faves. The aeronautic first aid kit was issued to almost every aircraft. For every 2 men, they got 1 kit. It contained burn ointment, eye dressing kit, morphine, various bandages and dressings, large scissors, and iodine. The basic first aid kit was individually packaged in a metal container and contained gauze dressings, tourniquets, scissors, along with drugs and medicines such as ammonia and iodine.
Thank you for your time. You've helped me further my knowledge of medicine use during the wars.
Well, no problem. I wish you luck in continuing your search for war knowledge.
Thank you. Our second guest for this program, I will talk to Lieutenant Jesus Cristo, who has fought in many recent battles and studies past military history, dating all the way back to the Spanish-American War. Thanks for coming here today to talk with me.
Pleasure to be here.
Cool. Let's get down to talking about how POWs were treated throughout history. And what exactly does it mean to be a POW?
Okay, to be entitled to POW status, the captured person must have conducted operations according to laws and customs of war. They must also be part of the chain of command, wear a uniform, and bear arms openly. Thus, terrorists, mercenaries, and saboteurs are not entitled to POW status. During World War II, Germany and Italy treated prisoners from the UK, France, and US in accordance with the Geneva Convention. However, Nazi Germany treated the Soviets with hostility. Japan did the same. The only other complaint was that the food was bad.
Sweet. Could you please provide some explanation of the number of POWs in World War II?
Gladly, my good sir. To start, more than 3 million Germans were taken by the USSR, with roughly 15% of them dying in captivity. 5.7 million Soviets were taken by the Germans, and 3.3 million died in camps. That's 88%. The U.S. also had 130,000 troops taken, with 74% taken by Germany. The only real POWs in the Spanish-American War were the ships captured by the Spanish, and even then most were killed.
What is the worst POW treatment that you've seen?
Well, when I was a lieutenant in World War II, the Red Army troops from the USSR were treated with neglect and organized brutality towards the end of the war. Soviet POWs were held in extreme conditions where thousands died of starvation.
Thank you for coming and donating your time to such a low-life reporter like myself. Hey, wait. Who wrote that? This isn't in my script.
I feel like... I'm sorry.
The last person I will be interviewing will be the best. He's an amazing person with an enormous heart and a kind, gentle soul. I am, of course, talking about
Fritz Glockenheimer!
The best historian the world has ever seen. So,
Fritzinator! That was money.
exactly what's your shot? What exactly was the driving force behind the Spanish-American War? And did the U.S. make the right decision?
Well, in my opinion, the Dulum letter was really the driving force at the start of the war. And the Spanish minister just badmouthed President McKinley, and in my opinion, it was just all downhill from there.
Do you think the Zimmerman note affected the U.S. entry into the war?
Well, when we intercepted the letter, we understood that immediate action was required. I mean, we didn't want Mexico coming in and just trying to reclaim the territories they had lost previously. Arizona and Texas, New Mexico and such. But we also understood that Germany and Japan were the main enemies because they were obviously the ones that had told Mexico that if they attacked us, they would help them get their land back, which of course threatened the United States, and we made the best decision we could make.
It is well known that the German army invading Poland, was the driving force to the start of the war. The start of the war. Excuse me. Why did the U.S. decide to hold a draft instead of waiting it out?
Well, we knew that if our hand was going to... Well, we knew that when we intercepted the letter... We knew that if a world war was going to be started again, our hand in the European conflict would have to be a firm, strong, 50s husband kind of hand. And therefore, Congress passed a law that allows for the draft, which in my opinion worked out excellently. I mean, a bunch of 19, 20, 21-year-olds getting killed for a bunch of crazy-headed diplomats in the United States.
So, a little off topic, but to close out the interview, who do you think will win the Super Bowl this year?
Probably the Giants in a 45-38 shootout with Eli Manning, Super Bowl MVP.
I disagree. I believe that Tom Brady will be...
No, you don't!
I think Eli Manning will be the MVP of the Super Bowl. God. Finally, I would like to thank all of my guests, Laura Tasman and Lieutenant Jesus Cristo. Rob, hand away from Rob. And Fritz Glockenheimer. For helping in my search for knowledge about the history of our beautiful country and its tragic wars. I would also like to thank all of you for your patience with Fritz Glockenheimer.
Glockenheimer!
Following me in my quest for knowledge. I have had a great time interviewing these three professionals, and I hope in the near future they will return. But until then, that's the way the cookie crumbles. I'm Aaron McJones, and you stay classy, Miss Olson's Block 1 class at Portland High School.
This is a Travis Barker production.
Soulja Boy, tell me. Hey, I got this new dance for y'all called the Soulja Boy. You gotta punch, then crank back 3 times from left to right. Soulja Boy, baby, oh, crank that Soulja Boy, then Superman.
Giants are going to the Super Bowl.